I have another letter from one of my mindset mentors. This is message 500 and day 15 in the 15-day Serene 15 challenge. And this message is dedicated to the memory of Fred Rogers, from the hood. This letter is appropriate as we wrap up our challenge because it's been an exercise in growing our focus muscles, slowing down and connecting to the present moment. One of my mindset principles is to focus where my feet are. I am so bad at all of the principles I try to practice, but especially this one. But I'm working at it, and that's the important thing. So I'm glad to share this letter I received over the weekend from one of my heroes. I know he won't mind me sharing with you what he wrote to me. Here's Mr. Rogers. Hi, neighbor. I hope it's a beautiful day in your neighborhood. I'm glad to be here to share something with you that I have found is rare. It took me a while to realize how scarce this ability is. It isn't a special talent. Everyone can do it, but I've noticed that not many do. The easiest way to tell you about what I discovered is that people can have their body in one place and put their mind in another place. That probably sounds a little funny. If you've ever been talking with someone, even face to face, and asked them a question and they didn't say anything back, you've experienced what I'm talking about. Maybe you had to repeat your question or say their name before they answered you. It was like they had left the room and suddenly walked back in. Their body was right in front of you, but their mind was somewhere else. Well, what I find is so rare is someone whose mind is where their body is. I call it focusing where the feet are. The younger a person is, I find their thoughts are always where their feet are. But as people grow up, the mind and the body are often farther and farther away from each other. The word grown-ups use for the mind and body being in the same place is present. It's the same word as a gift. And I think there's a reason people decided to use the same word. Being where we are should be a gift to others. The older a person gets, it's harder for the mind and body to be in the same place. There's a word we use when a person is not present. That is called distracted or not focused. A person can't see where they are. It's kind of like when you're crying and your eyes are watery. Everything is kind of blurry and you can't see very well. It takes a while before you can see things like you could before you were crying. I think that's a good way to think about being distracted because we're sad when we cry, and not being present is sad indeed. When I started Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I wanted to create a space where children felt seen and heard, a place where they knew they mattered. Every time I stepped in front of the camera, I made a conscious choice to be fully present. I focused on the child on the other side of the screen, imagining their faces and their needs. This was my way of saying, "You are important and you are worth my time." At first, I didn't think it would work for children to feel my presence when I wasn't with them in person. When I focused where my feet were, even in a television studio, I could be present even across the barriers of a television screen. You see, distractions are everywhere. It's like going down the toy aisle as a kid, having your heart set on a new Lego set. Then one toy after another pulls you toward it. After a while, you don't even remember the toy you first wanted. Whether it's something flashing on a screen or your stomach rumbling for a snack, it can be hard to stay grounded in the present moment. Fighting distractions is a real battle. I wish I could tell you the older you get, the easier it becomes. It doesn't. I don't get pulled away by new toys as much anymore, but I still get pulled away just by different things. You will always have to work at this your whole life. I remember a particular day when a little boy came to visit the television studio. He was very shy and seemed overwhelmed by everything going on around him. Instead of rushing him or pushing him to engage, I knelt down to his level, looked into his eyes, and simply waited. I was there with him, fully present, letting him know that it was okay to take his time. Eventually, he opened up and we shared a wonderful conversation. This taught me a lesson. That being present means waiting sometimes, because not all of us move at the same speed. It's like a friend knocking at the door of your home. When you open up the door, your friend may not walk right in. You might have to hold the door open. If you keep a smile on your face, though, and maybe wave them in, they'll eventually step inside. In your own life, you can practice this presence by setting aside distractions and truly listening when someone speaks to you. A smile on your face always helps. Looking at the person's eyes is good too. And if they look sad, worried, or excited, it's okay to talk about what you see from them. Acknowledging what you see, how a person is feeling, is one of the best ways to give them your presence. Let them know through your actions that they're important to you. It's in these moments of genuine connection that we build trust, foster understanding, and create bonds that can last a lifetime. Being present is not just about being physically there. I hope you feel my presence as I share these words with you. even though we can't be together face to face. You have the ability to make others feel seen, heard, and loved, even if you can't physically be by them. By focusing where our feet are, fighting distractions, and being fully present, we can create more gifts of presence. Thank you for sharing your presence with me. You've probably heard me tell you this before, but you've made this day a special day just by your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. Here's to many more moments of focusing where your feet are, because that truly is the most important moment you have. Until next time, I will cherish the moments we had together.